Just when we were all wondering how The Division is going to perform on PC, Ubisoft has released the official minimum and recommended specs for the game. Now, obviously this game is coming out before too long. Of course, the beta for the game is actually beginning in just a few days, so perhaps if you're wanting to dip your toes into the beta, then have a look-see at this. As always, we will begin the minimum configuration. OS is what you'd expect, Windows 7, 8.1 or 10, 64-bit versions only. CPU needs to be an Intel Core i5-2400 or AMD FX 6100 or better. 6 gigs of RAM. GPU needs to be at least a GeForce GTX 560 with 2 GB of VRAM, or the current equivalent is the Nvidia GeForce GTX 760. Or an AMD Radeon HD 7770 with 2 GB of VRAM or better. DX is 11 and it's going to take up 40 gigs of space on your hard drive. But what you all want to know about is the recommended specs that Ubisoft have supplied. Naturally, the OS is the same. However, for the CPU you need an Intel Core i7-3770 or an AMD FX 8350 or better, 8 gigs of RAM. For GPU you need at least a GeForce GTX 970 or an AMD R9 290 or better, DX is naturally still 11 and the hard drive space is of course the same. Now at release they will officially support the following Nvidia cards: GeForce GTX 500 series, GeForce GTX 560 2 gigs VRAM or better, GeForce GTX 660 or better, GTX 760 or better, and in the Titan series, GTX 960 or better. As for AMD, be the Radeon HD 7770, 2 gigs of VRAM or better, the R7 270 or better, and the Radeon R7 370 in the Radeon 300/Fury X series. As for laptop models of these desktop cards, they may work as long as they are on par in terms of performance with at least a minimum configuration. So there you have it. Unsurprisingly, the recommended specs are a bit meaty, as I said, 970 or R9 290 for the graphics card, 8 gigs of RAM, 3770 or FX 8350. Not exactly shocking given the rather impressive looking graphics that we've seen, but how well it runs and how well it performs, well sadly that is something we will only find out when it comes out. As I said, the beta is beginning in just a few days, but naturally it is a beta that's not necessarily going to show us anything about the final release, but it will at least be an indication of how well this is going to perform on PC. I'm dubious just because it's Ubisoft, but hopefully this will not be a case of another PC version bites the dust. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.